What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. And it is, of course, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. We're talking about week 7 of the NFL season. Got the unk off to talk about. They're calling it the Icy Hot Bowl on Thursday Night Football, Bengals and Steelers. We'll talk about the Rams' absolute decimation of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Bears, Broncos, Panthers, Chiefs, Niners. We got lots of football to talk about here today. Before we get into it all, Matt, Theo, on this glorious Sunday night, how are you guys doing?
Mostly tired. My strength is being tested by the midnight records as usual. Some days I'm all right for them. Other days I drink a whole bunch of coffee and I still don't got it in me. And my canker sore it's still on the tip of my tongue and it still hurts like hell. It still hurts exactly as much as it did the last time we recorded and the time before that. I don't know, man. I mean, I've been eating tubes of Orajel all day, every day, so that's been super hype. I'm not in a bad mood, but
that's good.
I mean,
the Panthers won. How could you be in a bad mood?
The Panthers won. Matt day.
Here's the thing. When I stop having this canker sore, I'll be so appreciative of not having one on the tip of my tongue. And that level of perspective will be something you guys lack. And I'll actually be in a much better mood from that point on. So the good times are coming right now. There's no rainbows without rain.
It's all up from here for Matthew Sponhour.
But the Panthers won and the Bearcats won and Ohio State won. It's not all bad.
It's not all bad. Actually, all of our teams won this week.
That's right. It is a happy stay hot day. I'm doing well. I had my friend Kevin come over for the 2 o'clock window, and we were both stressing. About the Packers and the Broncos simultaneously.
2 o'clock window. Give me a break.
That's exactly what I thought.
It's actually the 4 p.m. window. The 3 p.m. window, the 1 p.m. window, whatever it is to you. Me and my Broncos fans friend were bonding over the strain on the heart that was both of those games.
And it ended up good for everybody.
It ended up good for everybody. I had the worst. That window was probably the most disastrous fantasy window of my lifetime.
How so?
I think I had an 80% chance to win. Not that these percentages mean that much. I feel like I feel like these projections
they're pretty bad on Sleeper.
They're pretty bad. I had a 99.
I have a 99% chance to win in 2 of my leagues and a 1% chance to win in the other.
I had a 99% chance to win last Monday night, and Caleb Williams had the ball and he only needed a point, and I won. Shout out Caleb Williams, but. This is not a 99% chance. There's not a 1 out of 100 chance he scores a touchdown on this drive or even gets 2 first downs. Come on. But they did lull me into a full sense of security before Bo Nix, who I was facing in 2 leagues, just killed me. And Trey McBride, who I was facing in 2 more leagues, just killed me. And so I'm in 5 and I went 0-5. And I think I was favored to win probably at the halfway point of the 2 p.m. window in all 5 of them. So I did get slaughtered there, and that kind of made me sad. But I'll never prioritize a fantasy win over a Green Bay win. So the fact that they were able to eke it out, that saves the day. And I don't care if I go 0-5 in fantasy. Unless maybe I get relegated from the 32-person league, then I might be more
I'm
sad.
fighting that like hell right now, bro.
But I'm feeling pretty good about my odds to not get relegated. I'm going to win today pretty convincingly.
As long as you have Taylor, you're probably all right, barring literally everybody going down.
Yeah.
Because he's such a beast. I mean, 3 of my top 4 picks are out.
Yeah.
Just straight up out, but I've got a pretty good chance of getting the win. I'm still up 40. Shout out DK for the Titans. I had to start him. And
yeah, I mean, I've got
DK.
Yeah.
I'm hyped as hell because Mike Vrabel said in the tunnel after the win that Terrell Jennings is their 5-minute back. He like randomly declared like, we got our 5-minute. I don't know exactly what that means, but I've spent $11 on him 2 weeks ago. So like, sure, bring him, make him be the 5-minute back.
Nice. Bam Knight has been playing pretty well for me. I've been excited about that. These are the names that get talked about in the 32 team fantasy football league.
Bam Knight is
it is huge. I scored 84 points this week, and I'm getting Dalton Kincaid back. That's gonna be huge.
That's scary. But anyway, I'm doing well. My stomach is a little bit upset after I ate a mushroom pizza from Domino's. But other than that, I can't complain.
Yeah. I was kind of feeling weird last night too. I went to see the Blue Jackets. Shout out the good guys, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got a W. It was their first home win of the season. But yeah, after that, I had like a really bad headache and my stomach was hurting. It was probably because I was driving around like 3 14-year-olds all night. But
yeah.
My sister and her friend, we got free tickets, so I took them to the game.
Had you been to a hockey game before?
Oh yeah, I mean I've been to Blue Jackets games before. I do wish I had taken my earplugs. I forgot how loud it can be in Nationwide Arena.
That's baby time mode.
Yeah, so
I'm going to an Avs game in 4 days.
Hell yeah! I'm like, I didn't go to a single Blue Jackets game all last season, and it's like a 30-minute walk for me to get to Nationwide.
Yeah,
I'm like, I gotta go to more games. So my girlfriend works there now, so she gets free tickets every once in a while to just give to people. It's kick ass. It's kick ass. Sick. But let's talk about some football, and let's start with Thursday night. Cincinnati Bengals they were at home, whiteout, and Pittsburgh comes in pretty heavy favorites. Matt, you locked them. And they put you to bed pretty early this week. It came down to the wire, and Aaron Rodgers put up a ridiculous Hail Mary that I couldn't even believe he still had in his bag, and as far as arm talent goes. But
Rodgers is still pretty good. He's not that bad.
He's still got it in him. But Joe Flacco came to play. He said, I'm giving... How many targets did he give to Jamar? 23 targets to Jamar Chase.
I mean, the story is the Steelers' defense as much as it is Jamar Chase. No disrespect whatsoever. Jamar is one of those guys who can go and take over a game. He's one of the 10 best players in the NFL, probably. Right?
You're right, Matt. The Steelers didn't have anyone.
But there's a level of like, okay, so Jamar Chase is like that, and he can carry you to a win if he has a quarterback that's just like got any sort of capability to read a defense and whatnot. But part of it is like the Steelers' defense is just so stagnant. It just refused to change when things weren't working. They were so obsessed with manning up on Jamar, or then like giving him a bunch of space because they're manning up and they're afraid to get beat deep. Even late in the game when it's like, this guy has 15 catches. I mean, you guys saw the picture that everybody was posting, and I thought it made a fair point, even though the stills always don't on social media, is like, how are you playing this far off of a guy like that late in the game when the Bengals are just looking for a field goal? It felt like for the entire game, Pittsburgh never took the threat that Chase was seriously. And I understand, like, on a level, it's tough to deal with multiple really high-level receivers at the same time, and that's the threat the Bengals bring to you, even if, it's Flacco back there instead of Burrow. But I thought the amount of man coverage when that clearly was going to get cooked every time was unacceptable. And I thought like the just really stagnant, like, one high or cover three was going to be picked apart by Flacco every time, which it was. And to do all of that and like additionally have an issue with the Bengals running game, how can you possibly live with those results for the highest paid defense in the NFL? It's just completely unacceptable.
And we're coming off a week where I just gave them props. I'm like, Derek Harmon kind of he fixed their problem.
Harmon should play more. Harmon should be on the field more, I think.
Yeah,
he's not like they rotate him. Unfortunately, like I don't think Hayward and Bent, like the interior rushing presence for them is just not there when Harmon's not out there all of the time necessarily. And I don't think their secondary is that great either.
They invested a lot into that secondary too.
And I think, the pass rush, is still going to be really good and still get a lot of teams. And I think that's obviously the most important part of defense. And they're going to have better games than this, I'm 100% sure. But wow, like you're going up against a kind of defeated Bengals team that's made a panic move for Joe Flacco. And you got 31 points out of the offense and you have the highest paid defense and you lost a game. It's not acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. Keanu Benton and Yaya Black are absolute liabilities on that defensive line, dude. And Harmon has been better, but yeah, if those guys are out on the field, they're going to get run all over every single time. So it's a problem. They're expensive and they just don't have the juice that they should. But also it's Jamar Chase, dude. Like, I don't know how many defenses are going to have that answer.
Yeah, but 26 targets is too many.
It's ridiculous.
It's like you've got, or 23 targets, that is. But if the Bengals can play cover 2 on DK Metcalf, you can play cover 2 on Jamar Chase. Like it's not that hard of a strategy. And it's even more embarrassing that they played that way and also just got completely removed from the line of scrimmage as well. Herbig, great pass rusher this year, one of the highest win rates in the league, super explosive, super bendy. But that left side of the line, or I guess right side of the line for the defense, was really, really rough for the Steelers. Like hardly anything to TJ Watt's side, Blaiden. Like that Chase Brown to the right, 2 carries for 8 yards. Chase Brown to the left, 9 carries for 100 yards.
I mean, dude, this is like the Steelers' off-season projection is just in this game.
And it's just lame coaching. They never move Watt around. They're playing the man, and it's like, what is
it's a very stagnant defense.
What is the vision for the defense?
Right.
And they said we knew what the Steelers were going to do. They were going to put Slay on Higgins and Ramsey on me. That's what Chase said. And yeah, they knew they were going to get that, and then they did, and it was predictably torched. I could have told you that could have gotten torched with those receivers, and yeah, I think the heat on Tomlin, the seat for Tomlin is very hot if those are the kinds of coaching decisions that get made, and those are the game plans going into Bengals games. Like, it really shouldn't be that hard. They're a terrible run team. They have great receivers. Play cover 2, play zone. All right. Didn't happen. Just embarrassing. Totally embarrassing.
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's, even though I feel like this version of the Steelers might be a little bit better, it's just an unacceptable loss.
It is. Totally. I mean, Matt, I didn't think you were wrong to lock the Steelers in this one at all.
No Hendrickson either. I mean, the Bengals had 0 sacks. Like, they had no pressure on Rodgers all night. Like, he was chilling. He was able to extend plays. The Bengals defense wasn't good either, but they had that play where they put DK in a vice in the cover 2, and DJ Turner was playing underneath and Stone was playing over the top, and they absolutely sandwiched him, and Turner was able to get the pick. And then Rodgers had that one just weird deep ball that just wasn't even close. And 2 plays for 1 defense was enough to get the win on this game. And shout out the Bengals, I guess, for trading for Flacco. I didn't think that would save the season. I thought,
well,
they were maybe a little bit too broke.
The season category quite yet, but I certainly think it's hard to knock it if you can go and get a win against the Steelers. I mean, is that worth 30 spots in the draft? Cincinnati fans, you tell me.
I think they are. I think they would say yes.
I think it's probably worth it, but you're not going to be able to throw 23 targets to Jamar Chase for the next, 9.
You might have to drop that down to 17 going forward. I completely agree.
You might have to. I mean, it was to the point where there was a play pretty late in the game where it was just a shallow cross that Flacco ended up throwing to Chase. But I'm like, dude, they had, I think it was Yoshi Voss up the seam, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a touchdown. And he just didn't even throw. He didn't even look at it. He's just like staring down Chase and Higgins the whole time. And I'm like, I can't even blame him because it's working. But like,
I mean, it's just like Chase getting open instantly. They're playing so far off him because they're manned up. And then it's like, okay, well, instant slant. And even if they're not that far off, he's still going to get open immediately. It's like, well,
yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to blame you for not trying to overthink it. Although, I mean, obviously, you want to throw wide open touchdowns.
Chase had 3.94 average yards of separation on this day when they were trying to play tight man coverage against him. League average when targeted is 2.98. So Chase had a yard more of separation compared to the average target, and that counts, I think, like check downs in the flat when no one's around, guys. Like tight ends and stuff usually lead the league in separation, running backs. So for Chase to have that much separation one-on-one with Jalen Ramsey the whole game is like ridiculous. Like truly Drewski chasing that guy around in the Patriots uniform. Ramsey's got to put some fucking gloves on too. Oh my, his washed factor is up 100% until he puts on gloves. Like,
what are your thoughts on that? How do you guys like the Drewski meme chasing like the Edelman?
Yes. Yes, I love that. That one gets me every time. Tyler Nubin had a coverage rep on Rashid Shaheed that was very applicable for, and immediately when I see it on TV, I think of that video, and then it always gets posted on Twitter reliably. It's a good one. It's a good one. He's just so happy chasing the guy around. He's got the big smile. He's like in the Patriots team facility or something too. Like what is going on?
I don't even remember the context in which that video got made.
Who knows? Who knows with this silly Drewski character? But that was definitely applicable for the whole Steelers. I mean, everybody's old. Every single person on that team is old. Even the young guys are like spiritually 35 just because they play for the Steelers right now. Like Darnell Washington is 40 years old, dude. Like that guy is not.
It kills me they have him listed at 264. That can't possibly be true. They have him listed as 6 pounds heavier than Pat Freiermuth. There is no way that is true, right?
No, he's bigger than Broderick Jones.
He's like minimum 280. Probably maybe more, right?
Coming into
Broderick Jones is 311. I would bet that Washington is over 300 for sure. I'd bet my life that he's over 300.
They have him listed as 4 pounds heavier than Jack Sawyer. It can't possibly be the case.
No.
I mean, clearly not.
I was watching this game with my girlfriend, and at one point they threw a pass to
Darnell Washington.
Yeah, to Darnell. I was going to say Broderick Jones for a second. No, they threw a pass to Darnell Washington, and she was like, "Why didn't he jump for that?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Why didn't he jump for that? He can't."
Yes, yeah.
He's too. But yeah, the Steelers coming into the season were the second oldest team in the NFL behind. Can you guess who?
The oldest team must have been the, I don't know. Who is it?
Matt, do you have any guesses?
No, go ahead.
Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You don't think about them as old because their most important player is young. But,
he's old for a young guy.
How old is...
Jaden's 24, right?
That's not old.
Yeah, for a second-year quarterback, though, I feel like it's...
Maybe by a couple of years. I would still consider 24 a young guy.
Oh, yeah, he's still a young cat. If 24 is old, then we're all old, so...
24 is a fine age to be.
It is.
But yeah, Bengals got the win here. They're moving on to 3-4. It doesn't totally save their season, but the AFC North gets a little bit tighter here to the point where now the Ravens could, in theory, start to claw their way back.
Yeah, it might save the Ravens season more than it saves
the Ravens a little bit. And like in a world where the Bengals schedule is getting easier, right? Because they go Jets, Bears, Steelers, and they got Patriots, Ravens, Bills. But like this next stretch is a little bit easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them somewhat of a window to stay in this until maybe Burrow.
They're coming up on a pretty hard stretch after this Jets game. I mean, the Bears are like not
That's
great,
true.
but they're 4-2 right now. And at the Steelers, I mean, I think it'll be tough to get them again. But like, I guess if they're just running man coverage, still fair enough. Patriots, that's not an easy game. Ravens, I'm gonna say probably not an easy game unless they continue to troll. At Bills, Ravens, I mean, that's a really difficult.
The Ravens just got to get healthy, man. But so do the Bengals.
It depends on when does Burrow come back. I mean, if he's not coming back until like that second Ravens game, I just think there's too many losables in there for you to stay afloat.
I think is the second Ravens game.
But then you go Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns to finish out this season. I believe they can go on a run when they get Burrow back, but it's going to be tough to stay alive. You've already got 4 losses.
Right. Yeah. So them and the Ravens are trying to fight their way back, but a loss for the Steelers makes it a little bit easier. And who knows? Maybe the Browns will sneak their way into.
They're on the path to 5.
On the path to 5. We're trying to get there, man. We are. But let's talk about the game that happened this morning, shall we? Rams, Jacksonville Jaguars, the last of the London series games. I'll just talk about what I think the biggest story from this game is. Dude, Matthew Stafford, MVP.
Don't say that. Don't say that he's the MVP frontrunner. Twitter will try to diagnose you with a personality disorder if you.
Why? If I don't say Baker?
If you don't say Baker.
Baker doesn't even play this week. So
they'll call you a sociopath.
I can say it now, but after tomorrow at like 10 p.m., then I can't say that anymore because Baker will have played.
I think Stafford is a very valid MVP frontrunner, though. I mean, after his 5 touchdown performance today, I think he leads the league in yards already.
5 touchdowns without Puka.
He was incredible. That first touchdown that he threw with the pressure bearing down, like flicking it sidearm, kind of fading away at the same time to a rookie Mumfield making his like first career catch or something like that. First career touchdown, certainly. Like, holy cow, that was money. And he had a quote early in the season. He just said, "Don't look at me," right? He's threw some no-look pass. And that has stuck with me since I've heard it, because you think about some quarterbacks who are just like sitting ducks in the pocket, and they're like predictable and they're easy to kind of get a read on. Like Ward, unfortunately, Blaiden is kind of like that. Like he's gonna make some sort of mistake. You can look at him. Sure. He's a dumpling back there, right? He's easy to eat. Bo Nix with all of his like batted passes today, right? Like you can look at him and get some sort of read on what he's thinking and what he's doing. You can look at his eyes, his body language. Like Stafford is just none of that, and it's a crazy smoke screen. It's a crazy superpower to have. It's so cool that guys can't really get a read on what he's about to do and what he's thinking when he's back there. Like it's so advanced. It's so hard to be able to throw any kind of misdirection into your game when you've got to be like reading through all your progressions and things are moving so fast, and like the level of timing that there needs to be. His best pass of the day was a big crossing route, I think, to Whittington, I think it was. And like he threw it so late.
Dude, I can't even keep track of some of the receivers at this point.
I know. It was Whittington, and it was on a big crosser, and I think it was who was it covering him in man? I don't know, but it may have been Jordan Lewis. And Stafford like threw it late. He like moved on from the read and then went back to it, threw it on the sideline, like under some pressure. It was just like a dime. It was so well covered. It was incomplete, but it was past the sideline a little bit, like on the white. And if it was any further inside, it would have been picked. And Whittington tried to stick out one hand and catch it, and he just couldn't come down with it. But it's like, man, like how do you get a throw that far, that late, like that accurate? It just doesn't make any sense when you watch some of these other quarterbacks, like how he's able to be accurate really late into the down. It's without that kind of movement ability. It's wild.
Yeah, their leading receiver in this game was Colby Parkinson with 47 yards. And then Devontae had 3 touchdowns, little hat trick for the boy, let him cook. But yeah, I mean, Stafford was just on one today. And you know, someone brought this up in the Stay Hot group chat. I completely forgot about the back injury thing that he was dealing with this offseason. It's just
Yeah,
like
he's been fine so far.
he's just been a complete non-issue. It's just like, oh yeah, he's just good. He's just as good as he's always been. And
He has been
yeah,
good.
it's them and the 49ers right now, which we'll get to them. It's like ridiculous that they're still in the running for this division. But yeah, them and the 49ers are at the top of the NFC West right now.
That second Devontae touchdown was a ridiculous throw as well.
God.
I think one-handed catches are usually, I think, a better sign of great ball placement than they are a great catch. It's kind of a weird thing where I feel like if they stick out one hand and are able to grab it and it's still a catchable ball with one hand, that is a lot of the time just a great marker for impeccable ball placement. Like it's usually not like an Odell Beckham type situation when it's a one-handed catch. Usually it's on the move, the ball is out in front of them. They just stick out their hand and grab it. And
the Drake London one-handed catch for the first down tonight, that was a perfect throw. I mean, I don't want to get into that game right now, but like that was a perfect throw.
No, that's the exact type of thing that I'm talking about, is like it leads them very nicely so the receiver feels comfortable enough to be able to catch it with one hand. Like sometimes one-handed throws are bad passes. Like Pop Douglas had one today on a bad pass. But I think a lot of the times it's a signal of a great pass, and that's the second Devontae touchdown. He reached up, he grabbed it with one hand in the back of the end zone, but it was just that little flick of the wrist from Stafford fading away from the pressure. There was no window there visibly. Like, I don't think he could even probably see Devontae too well because there was someone trailing him so closely, but he just put it up in a spot where Devontae was able to get it and just stick his hand out and snag it.
Sometimes you can only go with one hand because you need your other hand to like try and create separation.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that Devontae has been like crazy at this year. Yeah, I think the bigger story from this game was the Jaguars, right? Just getting blown out and how inconsistent they were.
Yeah, I mean, you watch them today and you start to realize like it's just so difficult to complete a pass at the NFL level, right? So much has to go right. You know, you got to snap the ball. The quarterback has to catch the snap. The offensive line has to block so many different guys. Then the quarterback's got to throw the ball. It's got to be accurate. And then the receiver has to catch it. And that's not even mentioning the fact that receivers got to get open. It just feels like for the Jaguars, it's like I believe in the individual talents, but there's too many guys who make too many mistakes. And it's tough to get everything to sync up on a single play. Now, this is to say they still went for 300 yards today, albeit with some garbage time cheese at the end here. But simply put, I think Lawrence's accuracy is pretty weak. He throws hard and misses sometimes pretty tough. The offensive line really wasn't helping him today. But I also think there's a lot of times where, like, when he gets pressured, he puts his eyes down pretty quickly and doesn't really give himself a chance to make a play like you hope he could. And he's a great athlete. And hypothetically, like, he should be able to stand in there and make tough throws. And sometimes he does. But I don't think of him as like a really like super plus guy dealing with pressure or whatever. And then on top of that, of course, like the most obvious thing to spot was just the amount of drops that they have. Brian Thomas Jr. is just killing them. It's just killer to have a guy who was, I mean, like, supposed to be the best player on the team almost turn into a massive weakness. And it's like, it's clear, like, physically he's still a threat. And I'm not saying like drops are the end all be all. They're just the most obvious mistake that a wide receiver can make. But when you have that and you have everybody else dropping some, it's just going to be tough to get in the flow against a defense that's also kind of bearing down on you.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's been one of the worst receivers in the league, I think it's fair to say. Like, the amount of weird ways that he plays the ball, the amount of times that he's kind of faded away from a hit, the things like that. He had a play up the sideline today where, like, instead of running under the pass in front of him, he like tried to slow up and push off when he didn't have to do that. And it's like, why does this guy have no idea how to play the ball? Like, seriously, he drops everything over the middle. If there's any sort of incoming hit. He you can see it in his eyes, you can see it in his body language when they always show these slow motion replays. Like he is crumpling. He is crumpling like he's in a he's at the can on the bottom of the ocean when there's the threat of an incoming hit. And you watch other receivers routinely across the league make catches and get smacked and pop up. I understand going over the middle sucks and getting hit sucks, but it happens time after time and after time again, and they don't go to the hospital. All right, I know that's the term hospital ball, but a lot of times that's not how it works. It's a collision. Yeah, it probably knocks the wind out of you, but you're pretty used to it after years and years and years of playing football. And if you're not used to it, it's because you're not doing it. And that's what BTJ is. He just can't even get started with it. He can't even start to get used to it because he's not trying.
I remember my freshman year of high school, they took us over to watch. Well, we were scrimmaging the JV team. And while we were doing that, we go over and we see the varsity team is practicing also, obviously. And we see a guy run a slant, and then all we see after the ball is thrown are his feet in the air. But he got right back up, man. He was fine. But we were all like, oh shit, dude.
It can be serious over the middle for sure. I just think the word for this offense is untrustworthy. I don't really trust Lawrence. I don't really trust Travis Hunter at this point, although we're giving him grace. I don't really.
It feels like none of them trust each other.
That's because they're all untrustworthy. I don't trust Brian Thomas Jr. I don't trust many of the offensive linemen. And I'll say this, defense did not create much havoc. I don't believe they had any turnovers unless I'm mistaken. No, they didn't. And I don't believe they even had a single sack. So no. I think with the Jaguars, the potential is there. We've seen their defense at the best, and they, weren't 100% or whatever. And that makes a big difference. But I think for as much room as there is for the offense to be better and the defense to be like it was playing, when they had 14 takeaways in 4 games, there's more potential for those takeaways to taper off and the offense just to be too inconsistent to string together full drives consistently.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because they didn't even have any kind of historically bad offensive performance or anything. They had 8 drives that crossed the 50.
Drive. They just can't do it the whole way. You've got to have if you're not going to get an 80-yard bomb touchdown, you got to have 5 really good plays in a 10-play stretch, and they can do 3 today. They had 3 in them. They had 2 in them. They could give you a couple of good plays, a couple of first downs. I mean, yeah, they passed for 300 yards, but
300 yards and no picks. I don't know. This was a game. It frustrates me. I don't know. It just frustrates me because I really don't think Lawrence is any kind of liability at quarterback. I really don't. I don't think he's so horrifically inaccurate. He had 2 really bad misses today. One was just out on a basic swing pass. That was pretty rough. And then he had an overthrow, kind of running right, throwing back left, overthrew an open guy by a couple yards. Those were egregious misses, 100%. But I don't think he'd be talked about as so inaccurate if people could catch the MF ball for him. I mean, he could have easily had 400 yards passing today, 450 yards passing today if Parker Washington catches some of those digs. If BTJ can track a deep ball. Now, I've said about Lawrence before the season, he makes more rookie mistakes than any rookie, and I think his pocket presence has regressed for reasons I don't completely understand.
Bad, man?
It's bad.
It's really bad.
He learned the wrong lesson from his Chiefs scrambling or something. I don't know, but he used to be notably good at avoiding sacks, and
that was
last 2
part
weeks
of his big thing coming out of college. No, and it's I watch him now, and I'm you want to know my honest? This is a one-day opinion, just what I was watching the day, and it stopped being true late in the game, and we'll get to it. But I watched Lawrence put his eyes down, getting pressured, and kind of do that thing where the quarterbacks try to go a direction they have no hope of going, and then just sort of start crouching down and doing that move. And then I watched Jackson Dart throw that that touchdown to, who was it, like Theo Johnson or whatever, where he like did a great job keeping his eyes up. And I'm like, damn, man, like Lawrence should be doing that. Lawrence should be able to keep his head up better than that. And it's not like you have to be in the league forever to be that type of dude. And Lawrence has got to get back to that. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, his hype coming out of Clemson was Andrew Luck-esque. And he's far from that. He is far from that. He's far from the dark horse MVP I thought he could be. But I think he's also far from a liability. So I don't know. Whatever that means for
he's one of those guys where it seems like he could be like, oh, maybe he's going to have a really weird development path. And like one of these years, he's going to go from like not quite there to like, boom, he just cuts down like those mistakes by 30% or whatever. Or like he gets that feel back in the pocket and all of a sudden, like he's got all the talent, you know, and the situation isn't that bad. Right. But it's just, it keeps not quite happening for him. I feel like is kind of my thought.
Yeah, you're expecting him to have like the Drake May jump that Drake May just had from year 1 to year 2, because he's kind of a similar body type and play style and type of mover. But it didn't take Drake May 5 years. But no. He also never like Kayshon Boutte is honest to God like way better than Brian Thomas Jr. at the same time. So I don't know what to think.
Or maybe Drake May is just that good.
Well, he is that good. I think he's someone else who's very much in the MVP conversation. He set the
franchise record today for completion percentage for the Patriots.
He had 16 completions in a row at one point.
He's a beast.
And he's nuts. He's an absolute freakazoid. Theo, you wanted to talk about the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I watched the first half of this game and then turned it off for the second because I thought there were better things to watch in the Patriots-Titans game. That ended up not being true because the Titans sold at the beginning of the second half like so bad. But I can tell you in the first half of the Bears game that like it seems like the monsters of the Midway are like back right now. Like they're now the takeaway kings of the league right now after this game on Rattler. I think Rattler had like 6 passing yards after the first half. And they just got a ridiculous back 7 right now. It feels like Brisker and Kyler Gordon and Nashawn Wright and Edmonds and TJ Edwards, like all of those guys are just playing on a string right now, really reacting quickly to everything thrown. I think they had like, they weren't even just tackling the Saints. They weren't just, being successful generally. Like they were killing these guys. It was like the Saints were made out of feathers. Like they were just getting pelted, like Madden hit sticks every single play. It was crazy. And that was the main takeaway I had was like, holy cow, these Saints just cannot not get killed by the Bears right now. And Rattler, after coming off his best career game and getting some national media attention and like, is he the franchise quarterback? Do the Saints have to draft a quarterback? I think those things are still up in the air for Rattler. I don't think this game like completely ruined him, but like you could kind of see that the ball security in the pocket was bad. He seemed a little bit small, and it wasn't really great targeting the middle of the field in some of these tighter pockets, but it was mostly just the Bears completely suffocating like every single thing that the Saints wanted to do. And I wasn't too tapped in. I was watching that game and the Chiefs at the same time. So like I don't really have too many scheme notes right now, but do know that like the Bears back 7 is quite scary, and Montez Sweat had a great game and a good stretch of games here as well. So they are looking like I think Caleb kind of struggled. I don't think he played necessarily fantastic, but the run game is cooking and the play action game off of that and the defense. And you can go a long way with those things. They don't have necessarily a really scary drop back passing attack right now. Caleb, while creating, hasn't really looked like USC Caleb at all, but man, the double teams and the zone blocking scheme were like really moving up to the Saints linebackers. Like Swift looked very elusive in this game. I think he looked more elusive in this game than even the Commanders game. Like so he built on an already good performance, and yeah, Monangai had some good runs as well. Like the run game, the defense, play action, it's starting to look pretty good. It's starting to look pretty good.
Is on pace for a career year, his best season as a pro.
Swift?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Ben Johnson just loves that dude.
I guess so.
If you want to talk about Kansas City, Geno Smith had 67 passing yards.
Man, he fell off.
If my sister were here right now, she'd
6'7". 67.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. They didn't really seem to trust any kind of drop back game. They were just kind of running it even in passing situations. They were just kind of plunging ahead and not really even letting Geno drop back. And then the Chiefs are just ridiculous. Like every single time there was a negative play, you just got that same sense that you always do with them, where it's like, okay, this is about to be erased, and then bang, it was gone. Right. Andy Reid is just the master, and Rashee Rice is so good at carrying the ball after the catch. And when you have somebody who's that good at getting the guy the ball in open space, plus he can do that, like it's just a tough thing to do.
You know, they've got him, and now they've got Worthy, or like they've got both of those guys now. It's just a lot of people that it can go to. And yeah, I mean, every week I feel like I'm impressed with something that the Chiefs have drawn up, and that's on top of having Patrick Mahomes, who on top of being great at erasing bad plays is also really good at like preventing them or like turning what should be a negative into a positive with a run or whatnot. So I didn't catch too much of this game, mostly because it was Chiefs versus Raiders. And I felt like I had a pretty decent idea of how it's going to go. Ashton Genty, 6 carries. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Not good.
Vegas is unbelievably disappointing this year. I'm shocked how bad Geno has been. That has been like one. I don't know. There's been a couple of guys who I
I'm
guess
completely
are like
shocked.
He's one of the worst quarterbacks starting this year. Truthfully,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I ranked him 30th out of 32 on your quiz, Blaiden. Like, it's like he's a completely different player. Like, I know he threw a lot of picks last year, especially in the red zone, but I mean, he was middle of the pack in turnover worthy plays. You know, like he wasn't constantly putting the ball in harm's way. He wasn't having 67-yard performances. He was evading sacks. Like he was dropping back a lot in a really bad situation. Like he had excuses. Like this year there are no excuses. Like there's just nothing that you can say. He's just been dog water. Truly. And
we've talked about it before. Like there were throws before where we're like, dude, you can see like he's got an arm on him. The accuracy is there. You can see what he's seeing. And a lot of times the situation's just letting him down, where it's like either the pocket collapses or like his receivers aren't even ready for the ball. Now it's just, he's just chucking it into double coverage, or, you know, the bad interception we mentioned last week, when he's like putting it on the wrong shoulder. And it's bad this year for him. I don't know what it is, dude, but he's just, I mean, this is a team that we were really excited about because we're like, oh, dude, Geno's going to be so sick, and they've got Genty, and he's going to be so sick, and they're just terrible.
Genty is so sick to me still. It's just that offensive line is trash, and why would you respect Geno at this point and all that type of stuff? Look, Kansas City, now that they're at full strength, they've got good weapons for the first time in like ages, and yeah, the passing offense is back, and the Raiders suck, and they're probably going to trade why is his name slipping me?
Crosby?
No, not Crosby.
Myers?
Myers.
Yeah,
Jacoby Myers. Jeez. So I feel like that's it. I have a few things that I want to talk about, actually.
Go for it.
I have 3 things that I want to talk about.
Exactly.
Number one is a take that you gave, Theo, and I'll finish this off with a game, so we'll get back on track. But you were talking about the Jonathan Taylor MVP odds a little bit, and a couple of other people were talking about that, and I have a decently strong opinion about this. If you're going to push Jonathan Taylor for MVP going forward, the argument has got to be that MVP should be most outstanding player, and Jonathan Taylor is that. But it cannot be Jonathan Taylor is actually the most valuable player in the NFL, because he's not, because he's a running back. He's not more valuable than Patrick Mahomes or like Dak Prescott or Matthew Stafford. And when it gets down to that argument, like, I feel like you've got to push more to change what the award is rather than like try to be like, no, he actually, like, play the angle of running backs don't matter was overblown 3 years ago. And look how important he is. He is important, but you'll lose the argument about him being like as impactful as Mahomes every time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm thinking about running backs and like Saquon's case last year and what Jonathan Taylor is doing this year. And I guess like kind of the thing that I wish I realized years ago when I was thinking a lot about positional value is and thinking a lot about running backs is like when you hand the running back the ball, it's kind of 9 on 11 because the quarterback can't really impact the play after handing it off. Some of them can. And then the running back actually has the ball. So what Jonathan Taylor is looking at is kind of 9 blockers in front of him on 11 guys. Whereas a quarterback, the running back can be a lot more helpful, whether it be pulling zone defenders down or blocking somebody.
They're taking a player away no matter what, either through blocking or through going out for on a route that needs to be covered. Yeah.
And that's why running the ball is less efficient, and that's why running the ball is so hard, right? Is because it's just mathematically bad, but you have to do it. Because why is there a nose tackle? Why are there linebackers in the A gaps instead of more defensive backs out there? Like, why are defenses structured the way that they are? Because
if there was no running the ball, everybody would weigh 200 pounds.
Right. So that's where I feel like when you look at the analytics in the EPA, it's like, well, of course running is less effective, but having the best running back and being able to do the really hard thing at the most effective level is pretty damn valuable. And with Taylor, like, he's got almost 700 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns in 7 weeks. Like, how often has that happened? Whereas, like, how often does a quarterback get off to the start that Baker's gotten off to, or even anybody, Mahomes, like Dak, like, are they really like notable all-time seasons? And that's something I got to look more into. But it's like Taylor is having the season that really stands out. The Colts are the 1 seed in their conference. Taylor had a masterclass against Denver, which is a top defense. He just had another just fantastic game today against a top team in LA. Like every time the Colts have had like a really tough assignment, like he has stepped up and gotten them a lot of wins. So I feel like by a lot of traditional kind of MVP metrics, Jonathan Taylor checks boxes, but solely because he's a running back and not a quarterback, he's way down the list and has no chance of winning. And I get, like, he's not more valuable than Mahomes. Like, he doesn't deserve more money than Mahomes, but like he is quite valuable, and I think more valuable than
he's offensive player of the year.
Indicates.
But it's like he just can't win MVP. He's just not the most valuable player. I agree with a lot of what you say, but it's not just the running back who's taking that 9 on 11. There's 8 others, right? And 5 of them being the offensive line, and they're super important as well, right?
But it can only go to one player. I don't know. I think it's possible. Why do you think running backs used to win?
Well,
like they never averaged as many yards per carry as quarterbacks did per throw, even before EPA and things like that. Like they never had the total yardage, the total touchdowns that quarterbacks did.
Look, I think there's a level of like, because they get the stats for the rushing offense, they're the ones who collect it. If you're, a Sean Alexander, whoever, you're basically getting the entire rushing offense all to yourself and then part of the passing game. So when you get an entire phase that all the numbers go to you and you have the most obvious, like, when you break a tackle, that's easier to see when someone does a good job like sealing somebody off, right? Especially like 20 years ago, how many voters even had access to like the all 22 or were watching in the same way that we can now? It's different. And then just like, I think the thought of like how much a running back contributed to the running game has changed. And overall, like what the award is supposed to be has changed. People have decided like, okay, what's most valuable? Well, the most valuable is a quarterback. And that's true. It's true. And I don't think there will ever be a year where we see a running back produce so greatly that they're more valuable than the top quarterback of that season. I just don't think it's possible. But I think there's room for an argument to be that the spirit of the award is best overall player. But honestly, I think that for the most part, like the best you could do is get it to like what the Heisman is, where hypothetically anybody can win it, but really it's going to be pretty much limited to yards getters outside of like some truly crazy seasons.
Who, if it was Heisman, who do you think would get it right now? I was thinking about this because I did my Baker isn't the front runner take, and I was like, well, what I should have done is done a ladder and not just said, well, it's not Baker. I should have just done a ladder. So I was thinking about who the ladder should be. And it's hard because like no one has really stood out. I think after today, like so many people's case got stronger after today. Like Stafford, Dak, Mahomes, Taylor, Daniel Jones, like all of those guys who are already good, like just bolstered their cases today. But if it was pure Heisman, like who is having the most historic season, I felt like I narrowed it down to like JSN, Taylor, Nick Bonito, and like, I don't know, maybe Mahomes still.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty dependent on just the numbers. I mean, the Heisman does a pretty bad job of looking at things that aren't straight up like the counting stats, frankly. And they did a fine job last year with like giving it to Hunter, who I guess was a defensive player and like fair. But really, he also won the Bolitnikoff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not giving him that many points for giving it to a defensive player when that's the case. And otherwise, they were going to go with Ginty. Don't get me wrong. Those were the two best players in college football last year, I think. And they happen to be yards getters, and it can happen plenty. But right now, like, I think even when you're looking at like those type of players, if we wanted to project for the NFL what it would be like who has the most passing yards, who has the most rushing yards, who has the most receiving yards. And it would be tough to make a clear argument, I think, in Heisman terms, like why it should be somebody outside of that. Because when I think, like I've said this before on here, but my frustration so much is just like what type of team you play on matters so much for that award. It's the reason why Lincoln Riley is so good at producing Heisman quarterbacks. Does he know how to develop guys? Clearly to some level, right? Does he put together good offenses? Yes. Does he also put together really bad defenses that mean that his quarterbacks have to throw a ton and they get a ton of attempts and a ton of yards and they win because of that? Like, yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt. When a team like, OSU decides, hey, we're going to intentionally throw as little as possible, run as few plays as possible, it doesn't necessarily doom their players or anything, but it makes it tougher. Having a bad defense is a massive advantage to win Heisman. And I feel like there's not really like a mainstream push to look significantly deeper than just kind of that level with a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying that the Heisman can't do a better, never does a better job than that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But there's a lot of times where it doesn't. And that, it ends up with you like having like quarterbacks who aren't even that good way high in the Heisman race until late in the season. They start playing some real teams. That's like, oh, okay, never mind. This guy's like not even that nice. Or you look at the Heisman odds and it's like, this is a most outstanding player. I bet you right now 12 out of the top 15 players in Heisman odds are quarterbacks. Well, that's ridiculous, right? But it's the way that it is.
I will say, I'm looking at
about it every year.
I'm looking at previous MVPs and I'm looking at the last like running backs to win it. Adrian Peterson was 2012, right?
That's the last one. It's been quarterback
That's the
since
last
then.
one. It's been a long time. I do think that by today's standards, Rodgers or Manning probably would have won the award that year.
Manning definitely.
No doubt.
Yeah, Manning definitely would have.
Breeze was the passing leader in yards and touchdowns.
Breeze won
They
like
were 7 and
offensive
9.
player of the year. The awards don't work how they used to. It's completely different.
I will say, though, for 2006, which was the last time before that, it was LaDainian Tomlinson. And he just straight up got that shit because he had as many touchdowns as the passing touchdowns leader that season.
That would be interesting. I would love to see someone have like literally the best rushing season ever, or like literally the best yards from scrimmage season ever.
Like Peyton Manning,
see how that would go up against like
touchdowns,
a pretty good Mahomes year.
Scrimmage touchdowns LaDainian Tomlinson had. It's just ridiculous. Yeah.
We'll see. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is Jalen Hurts, who had a very good game today. I caught most of this one, but it's a few things with him. I thought that he did a pretty decent job accessing the middle of the field. I mean, the final throw that he had to A.J. Brown, it was tough in a tight window down the field. He stuck in there and made that one. And I was like, that's exactly what they need to see. He also had a couple of deep balls that were perfectly placed. The Eagles right now, I think, are still super frustrating, right? The pass rush isn't where you want it to be. The offensive line isn't where you want it to be. The run game against a Vikings defense that is not like that good against the run. 2 yards a carry or whatever it was, like totally unacceptable. But when you can trust Hurts to give you a shot at those deep balls, you still are going to have a pretty decent offense with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So I was happy with his performance. I think if you can build off of what he was able to do in this one, you're going to at least be able to avoid, the games that you lose solely because your offense doesn't want to play like, anything other than the Navy stuff that we were talking about earlier. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, I guess, for playing well, and not only like having a lot of yards is fine, but it's doing things that you need to be doing. That's a big deal, I guess.
Yeah. He was 5 for 5 for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns beyond 20 yards today. I'd say This is best game of his career, ? I mean, the Vikings were a very good pass defense coming into this game, and Hurts averaged
and a heavy zone sort of disguise tough defense. Yeah,
he averaged over 14 yards per attempt. Wow. No, he didn't lead he had negative 10 rushing yards. So I was expecting to scroll over that and see some rushing yards too. But no.
I mean, he had a perfect passer rating. I mean,
that'll do it. Yeah.
Ask a whole lot more than that. He has 16 total touchdowns and only 1 pick this year. Is Jalen Hurts the MVP of the league?
No.
No.
But a couple more performances like that, and he can work his way back into it, because that is a genuinely elite performance. That's what y'all wanted to see, huh? I didn't see this game. I was sick of watching the Eagles offense and was like, I'm watching the Bears and the Saints. And of course, then I missed when the Eagles offense is actually fireworks and exciting. So I'm box score watching here, but like, I hope Hurts didn't say anything like that's what you wanted to see, because like the answer is such an emphatic, like, yes. But that is what we want to see. That is what we
didn't count back.
He did. Yeah, no. Yeah, he was great today. So shout out our boy. Shout out my boy, Jalen Hurts.
Blaiden is always right.
And the last thing I wanted to talk about, Carolina Panthers winning record. They beat the New York Jets.
Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, Matt.
Derek Brown. Derek Brown is a great player. He's so easy to love because he's just like, even in spite of the Panthers for a long time just being such like a pitiful defense, is such a high motor guy. I mean, he had like 100 tackles as a defensive tackle. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like him like really grinding and getting outside and making plays. Like it's one of those things where it's like that's not what makes a player good or bad, but it can make a really good player a really great player. And yeah, JC Horn had a couple of nasty interceptions in this one. It's always nice to see the stars ball out. I'll say this, like I still feel good about what I said about Carolina earlier. Their run defense is a lot better than it was. That's what they invested in this offseason. I thought they did a very good job against the run today. Granted, I think the Jets have a pretty unserious offense. They're battling with, which quarterback they want to play. They put in Tyrod.
Yeah.
I think that's the right choice, but I don't think their offense is exactly like good with Tyrod in or anything. You know what I'm saying?
He sold some easy touchdowns today.
He sold on some deep balls. I thought the Panthers got beat. They were really focused on playing underneath. I thought like maybe they're leaning a little bit more underneath when you go into a game where you're playing Justin Fields. Like I guess I could get it, but like they were able to make it up because none of them were very good throws. And Mike Jackson had a good deflection, and Horn had a really nice interception in the end zone. So, I mean, I'm not surprised New York continued to struggle. I don't really know if I think the Panthers are that great, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, the offense, I still feel like is pretty stagnant, and I think Bryce just continues sort of the. They've won 3 in a row, but it's tough when you're not playing one of like the worst rushing defenses in the NFL or whatever, because then you can't run for 200 yards. But Bryce got banged up in this one, so I don't want to get on his case too much. And I thought he still made some good plays in spite of it all. Like he's a good decision maker. But physically, he's really limited. We've talked about it before. But I got to give a shout out to my guys for having a winning record.
Got to.
For the first time since 2007.
And the Stars, like, you just can't talk enough about Brown and Horn and how good they really are. Like, potential all pros at their position. Like, one of the 5 best in the league at their respective position are those 2 guys. And they've made it so their rushing success rate is the best in the league, and their overall defensive success rate is 3rd best in the league. They're still allowing a lot of big plays. So despite those good success rates, they're 25th in EPA per play on defense. So like,
that's brutal, dude.
Don't worry about that little detail, but they are like play in and play out, usually getting stops, which is more than you could say about them last year. And that has so much to do with Derek Brown. He had an amazing game last week against the Cowboys, just double teams, shedding them, he shredded some triple teams. He gets good push on the pocket. He's a really good contain rusher. He gets his hands up. He bats passes. He pursued Tyrod to the sideline in a ridiculous way. Like you were talking about the motor mat. And then JC had one-handed interceptions, plays where he got his head around. He was the best receiving talent on the field when the Jets were on offense. Like Garrett Wilson was out. Give me JC Horn tracking a football over anybody who was out there for the Jets today. Like it was not fair. It was not fair at all.
Theo, I like what you were about to say, which is take Tyrod to the Taylor.
Take Tyrod to the Taylor, bro. Tyrod was a lot better than Fields, but he did underthrow some egregious.
Might be the lowest bar.
I still think I don't know. I still think Carolina, this is a year where I was like, they should get better, but they're not going to be quite there yet or anything, even if like shit is going right. And like their pass rush is just, although they had 6 sacks today, but I believe that is more than they've had in their first 6 games total. I think they have 12 on the season, and maybe
they did mention
before
that.
the 6 before. Yeah, so like pretty weak. But I don't know, like, first round pick was a hit. You're getting Coker back now. Leggett even had a good game.
He did.
Like what I've seen out of Mitchell Evans so far. So I think the weapon room, we'll see how it evolves. But like I think it could end up being all right by the end of the year. And you could say long term, like actually kind of the main players are in place here more than we thought. The offensive line got to get healthy. Got to have these 2 guards that you went out to get. But even then, like, I don't think their depth is super, super unworkable or anything. And your stars on defense are really good, and where you invested in the run defense is really good. The edge rushers, like, I'd love if one of the rookies could really start to turn it on. And Scorton had his moments. He got Mimbo pretty bad a couple of times early in this game that I was excited about. And I'm like, oh, maybe he's going to cook Mimbo the entire time. I don't think it quite went like that, but I don't know. I thought their process was good this offseason. I think a lot of the moves that they made are looking pretty decent right now. And they've won more games at this point than they thought they would have.
For sure.
And that's all good stuff. So shout out to
They're
the
on the
Panthers.
path to 5.
They are.
They're on the path to 7.
Ooh.
That was my preseason pick. They could do more than 7.
They could. Real test coming up, Buffalo.
Yeah. And then the Packers. So we'll see. But I'm enjoying it right now.
No, that's a normal Sunday game. I've got my dates all mixed up. It's okay.
We got to talk about the Broncos, the Donkeys.
The Broncos and the Giants. The Broncos were down 19-0 entering the fourth quarter. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. Absolutely insane. I'm watching this game.
And scoring 0 before that.
And scoring
from
0
to
before
33.
It's just like looking at the box score from this is just hilarious. It's just 7-0, 6-0, 6-0, 13-33. It's just comical. It's so funny. And when it got to that final Giants drive, and I'm watching Jackson Dart throw dropped interception after dropped interception, and then they get into 4th and 19, and they maybe picked it up, but it doesn't matter because roughing the passer, and then he throws another dropped interception, and then the underthrown deep ball pass interference gets called.
It wasn't even that heavy a pass interference. People were kind of like, oh, it was underthrown.
Call.
I'm like, I thought it was just a soft call in general. I thought it wasn't really PI regardless. I mean, it's 100% true that, like, you know, the Broncos were completely on the ropes, and a really bad Dart interception got them back into it. And then they were scared to throw, so the Broncos got the ball back and they scored, and it's like, okay, the Giants have a chance. What do you got, Dart? And it was the most pathetic potential game-winning touchdown drive ever. I mean, yeah. It was a bunch of deep balls that were total ducks, either overthrown or underthrown into double coverage, and they still got down there and they still scored a touchdown. And it is awesome that the Broncos were able to end up pulling this one out with a truly sick final drive. 37 seconds left?
Yeah, something.
They hit a couple of monster ones, over the middle, and they get up and they clock the ball well. Nix was super aggressive all of a sudden. People talk about, like, when his back is against the wall, he's a lot better. I feel like that's on some level got to be just when he has no choice other than to really put the ball in harm's way and to let it rip, that good things can happen more often than he suspects when the game is closer. No? Because in this one, like, he trusted, like Sutton to go up and get a ball, like, over to the corner, and he was able to do it. Or that shot to Mims was great. So I thought it was an awesome way to end the game, and it was really great for them.
It was great. I was honestly so happy the Giants didn't win after that drive. I'm like, if I have to listen to the Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, it's like, oh, dude, they just inject life into this team. There's the aura. Like, no, dude, they did not deserve that shit.
Cam Scatterbo is a good player.
He's fine.
He's good. No, he's good. What is your issue with, I don't get it. Both of you guys, like, you'll watch Scatterbo break tackles and play well, and then you're like, nah, he's not good.
He breaks tackles and he gets 3.8 yards per carry, dude. I'm not moved.
I thought he played his best game today. I thought he was good today. His vision was kind of high end.
Look, it's just, he reminds me of Peyton Hillis thing is very true, but I didn't like Peyton Hillis when he played for the Browns. So like to me, that's a red flag.
I think it's true that
Scatterbo,
he's not going to be like at the top of any explosive play charts, which is probably what you would ultimately need to be like a top 10 running back. But his vision today was crazy, and he does invite contact, and it literally seemed like the Broncos didn't want to tangle with him at all in this game. Like it really seems like his reputation kind of precedes him, and he's always falling forward, getting the +3 like every single time consistently. So I think he's good, but like I don't think he's elite. I think where he was picked was like not completely crazy or anything like that, but he balled out today. He had some, like, the touchdown catch was fantastic.
The screen, that was a nice play.
He had a play running to the right, some stretch play to the right, where it looked like everything was taken away, and then he cut back, and then everybody fell to the cut back, and then he cut back front side, which I always think is such an elite running back play, and was able to find a tiny crease. Like he was balling out today. So he doesn't deserve any slander. I think they do inject life into the franchise more than Tracy and Russell Wilson, if that was the plan.
Yeah,
I think you're just hating on him because of 40 time. He's got his limitations, but he's a good player, man. He's tough to go up against. He's making more plays than a replacement running back. That I'm confident.
I'll give you. He's better than probably like Jerome Ford and that bullshit. So
unbelievable
stray to a Cincinnati legend.
I agree.
He's better than.
I agree. Here's a question for you. Just how happy should Broncos fans be with this win? Because at the end of the day, you beat the Giants by like a point.
They should be hype about it.
They should be hyped because they came back. But
Giants.
Should they be euphoric? Should they be over the moon? Should they?
You should be upset about like the Bo Nix like for the first 3 quarters of the game. I just feel like he's just not like I
made a video after this game happened, and Broncos fans have a lot of beef with Sean Payton. They're like, we want Bo Nix to be let loose more because they feel like it's a lot of Payton holding him back, which is something I have not looked into. But that's
true. I mean, it's absolutely true that there's a ton of screens. I mean, there was a whole 3 quarters where they scored 0 points here. And a lot of that had to do with screens that were just getting blown up. I mean, the amount of big hits that the Broncos took in the first 3 quarters was insane. Like Sutton got lit up on the goal line. Bo Nix got trucked on a bootleg. Like I've never seen a quarterback get hit before. Andrew Phillips like blew up a screen of theirs. And it just was getting to be a lot. Just screens getting blown up, passes getting tipped, screens getting blown up, passes getting tipped. It was just not much down the field, not many throws with arc on them at all. And so I see where the Broncos fans are coming from for sure. But really my bigger concern would be the defense and this vaunted unit giving up 30 plus points, you know?
I don't know.
You don't know?
How much of that is just the offense not being on the field for 3 quarters?
Yeah, that's fair. But like that Tracy touchdown was ridiculous. Like there was no one within 50 yards of Daniel Bellinger on like a lot of blown assignments, some really bad. I think Alex Singleton had like a disaster game. Like, should you be, I guess you should be thrilled with the comeback, and it's one of the great wins. And I was freaking out watching it, but like, holy cow, should you have the fan mentality or should you have Sean Payton's mentality of like, that was a mess and thank God
it was a mess, but I'm not letting you get the Broncos defensive regression takeoff on me, I'm afraid.
Well, it's not regression because this happened to them last year several times where they would just like be butter for some of these random games.
Look, I think they had a couple of like boneheaded mistakes in this one, but also tipped pass up in the air for a touchdown, brutal. Final drive, brutal luck. They just as easily could have had 2 more interceptions in this one, and then it's like you're not really having this conversation. The Giants only put up 19.
They also got a tipped touchdown.
All they
Yeah.
have to do is all their defense needed to do on that last drive was just have one of their safeties call for the ball. Just be like, mine, and just go up and get it.
That was
And
crazy.
the game's over. That's it.
That was crazy. I don't know. I feel like it was a great win. It feels great. I mean, it's so much better than losing to the Giants, especially with all the Twitter shit that had been happening. I feel like that's what made this such a great win, was Benito calling the Giants fan base delusional, and that's sparking like a war the whole week. And then you're just concerned because you have receipts and you're going to get killed, and then you come back and win. I feel like that had a lot to do with just how good and euphoric of a win this really was.
That's how I feel, and I have no affiliation to either of these teams. I just don't want to see the Jackson Dart truthers like, he does it again.
You agree with
like,
you agree with Benito that this is the most delusional fan base.
It's not
in the league.
it's not that it's a delusional fan base, but there's a chunk of Giants fans and a chunk of football fans that just worship Jackson Dart, and I hate it.
I thought Dart did some good stuff today. I thought his last quarter was really bad. I was gonna come on here and be pretty positive about Dart because I thought he did a good job.
But he completed less than 50% of his passes and should have.
Man, was it really below 50 by the end?
15 for 33.
Dang. He looked really poised under pressure, like you said earlier, Matt, and that's what really impressed me. He had some plays versus the Chargers right away where I was like, oh man, like it's gonna be rough this whole rookie season. Him dropping his eyes, him getting tripped up, him taking big hits, things like that. And he still took some big hits. He tweaked his ankle at one point, like when he could have just thrown the ball away. But for the most part, I was really impressed with how he was just kind of like bouncing from place to place and setting people up and really avoiding sacks. Like Benito had a quiet day, Cooper had a quiet day. Like I was super impressed with Dart for the first three quarters for sure. But it definitely feels like he's got a bit of a pressing issue where you saw it at Florida at Ole Miss. You saw it in the LSU game at Ole Miss where it's like it gets to be winning time, like game-winning drives in the fourth quarter, and he just is a turnover machine. He's a turnover-worthy play machine in some of these instances. And it's tough to praise him too much when that is the case.
I try to give him a little bit of grace for the final drive. Like maybe it was just a thought process thing because they were really down on the clock. Like they didn't have a lot of time to do much. They were started that drive on the 15 or the 20, and they needed 80 yards, and they had a minute with one timeout, and it's NFL, so it's really tough. But yeah, I thought it was a rough drive, and the interception was just completely unacceptable, and that's what started the whole thing, of course.
Yeah, true.
And that was a bad moment under pressure, and it's like, damn, it's tough to be like, I'm going to get all my takes off. But I guess my feeling about Dart right now is I think he's mobile. I think he's got a perfectly adequate arm. I think he attempts and often hits real passes, and he showed flashes of doing a good job dealing with pressure, both in the way he maneuvers a pocket and his ability to continue to look down the field while doing that maneuvering. That is the basis of a good quarterback in a lot of ways, doing all of that. So for a guy who is playing in his third game?
Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Broncos.
And then this is his fourth game now. I think you should still be pretty happy, if anything, is what I'm thinking. But obviously there's a lot of work to do, but he's looked better than he did even in game one. There's a massive difference in how he's playing. And this was against a really tough defense. I think it's one of the best in the NFL. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel pretty good. There's still things to worry about, of course, and there's a long way to go.
But I feel like he's making improvement, and I sound like such a hater whenever I talk about Dart, and I need to stop.
You can embrace it.
I am a hater, but it has nothing to do with his play. It's just his fans annoy the shit out of me, and so it's just so easy to root against him. But no, he has improved, and I need to be more honest about that.
I follow a couple of Giants Twitter people that I like, so I don't know. I don't think the Dart fans have been that bad. I think some of the general NFL like talking heads could be a little bit much when it comes to, and like some of the memes with Scatabo aren't funny, like the AI ones of him like running into a brick wall. Like
dude.
He is kind of ghetto Gronk slop.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to put it. But like the thing is
that's not his fault. That's not
like
his
Cam
fault.
Scatabo is
he is authentically himself. I think. Like I don't have any beef with who Scatabo is, but yeah, he's.
I'll be real with you, like yeah, and specifically like the Gronk bit of like this guy's a big meathead jokes. We're just kind of spent on those. We've just kind of done all of those jokes with Rob Gronkowski.
It's not 2016.
And it's like, I'll be real with you, I never was like laughing my head off at Rob Gronkowski as a meathead jokes, but it's like, you know, some refried nachos from a decade ago. I'm feeling a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say Dart has only hit one deep throw, I think, or two deep throws, I think, unless I'm forgetting one from today. He had his wide open Bellinger touchdown, and he hit one to Lil Jordan Humphrey in the Eagles game.
What,
and I think
are we constituting deep? 20?
Like 20 plus yards throws. Those have not been on the money with him.
He did hit a 19-yarder today.
Okay. Some of those have been off. I feel like he has to get really, really dialed in over the middle. Like that to me is what's in my head of like what Dart looks like at a really, really high level. Is obviously those deep results can be a little bit better, but where he's really got to be good is like timing and accuracy in kind of that 10 to 20 yard range, because he's so unafraid of contact, because he's so physical, like stand in there, step up, get over the middle, and then use your legs a good amount as well, because some of those deep shots and at the end of this game, like he was terrible going deep. Like you needed to pick up those big shots, like that one where the safeties ran into each other. Like that was a horrible throw. But the 4th and 17 one was good, where he scrambled and then went more across the middle and more in the intermediate range.
Yeah, no,
I think he's got to get really, really good there.
And it was very close if they were going to get that first down or not. I was like, they're going to have to bring out the measurement, and then I saw the flag.
I think he got there, though. The yellow line on that one.
I do think he got there. The yellow line was a yard off. It looked clear like he was short, but the yellow line was a yard off.
Yeah. So, shout out. Broncos.
Shout out. And shout out Nix for running around. Like I feel like running around in the latter portions is really where he shined, because it wasn't, to me, like so much. He had some big time corner routes, I'd say, but so much of those fourth quarter comeback throws were like him swirling the defense and then getting it to like Evan Ingram underneath, no one near him. Evan Ingram runs out of bounds. Like he was kind of doing that over and over and over again. He was a real positive when he held the ball and ran with it. And then he had some designed runs, one for a touchdown at the end of the game. Like really using his legs as a threat, which is, I think, going to be the big key for Nix, because he is so like big and athletic. Like let him do that more. I don't know.
No, Nix is really good at extending plays like that and not taking sacks. I think still not taking sacks is one of his best traits. And yeah, I think you've got to open up the offense a little bit more if you're the Broncos. We talked about this last week, I believe.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of the pieces there, and if at a point you got to put faith in Nix, because there's only so far you can get trying to play like the more reserved, we're going to throw a whole hell of a lot of screens type of offense.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But I've been pleasantly surprised with some of the Knicks performances we have seen this year. So, off to a pretty good start. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football. 49ers, how in the hell are they 5-2, man? I mean, the number of guys they've got who probably weren't going to play at all this year and are now starting in the lineup. I mean, we saw Chase Lucas break up a pass on
works up. Chase Lucas was the
Drake
defensive
London, that play that he jumped him, the Drake London I thought he was going to have a pick six. I was like, oh my God.
He was the defensive team like captain when I was there with Jaden and Ayuk and Darby, and then it was Chase Lucas as like the defensive captain. Shout out Chase Lucas, 7th round pick by Detroit, and has made plays whenever he's entered the game for the 49ers. He had the preseason game of his life against the Broncos, I think week 1 of the preseason. Like he was killing him. I'm like, okay, Chase Lucas, and then he comes in today and goes wild. Like, shout out. This is how Matt must feel watching any sport in any, and you Blaiden, but more Matt, I feel like, with Ohio State. Like, oh, there's that random guy. Like, glad to see him balling out. It's few and far between for us Sun Devils, but shout out Chase Lucas. And the reason why the 49ers were so good tonight, Christian McCaffrey, bro, 200 total yards.
Yeah.
And that's you want the MVP running back argument? How about look at Christian McCaffrey tonight? Who is the most valuable player on the 49ers offense tonight?
It was McCaffrey.
It was McCaffrey. So imagine if he did that for, 10 of the 17 games or so, who would be the most valuable player on the 49ers that year? It would be Christian McCaffrey. Like you could, there's kind of your MVP case, because McCaffrey is leading the league in like target share, or when you look at routes and carries combined, like he is absolutely carrying the load. He is just as shifty, and he's got the same kind of vision as Bijan, which you kind of saw tonight. And I think he's like even a little bit more running behind his pads and downhill, at least in this game, where he's like really able to burrow and tunnel forward for some of.
I don't know. I think Bijan's as good as anybody at that. All right, in this game,
like, because this was slated as the Bijan Robinson versus Christian McCaffrey duel by Sunday. They were pushing that pretty hard. So. And
people
McCaffrey
forget
got
that
the win.
McCaffrey's kind of a good sized back, and so was Robinson. But like, I just recently saw this again. It was McCaffrey talking about how big Cam Newton is. And he's like, dude, like people thought for the longest time that I was like this 5'8.5"
scat back,
scat back, because I stood next to 6'5", 255-pound Cam Newton for my entire career in Carolina. And then people were like, wait a second, he's like, he can run behind his pads and stuff too. It's like, yeah, he's what, 5'11", almost 6 foot, 210, 215. Like he's got some good size on him. So shout out.
Yeah, he was just a monster. He was just a monster. Like they're not running so much wide zone. I think Chris Collinsworth did a good job kind of pointing out how their scheme had changed on the broadcast, but he wasn't following his puller, like it wasn't like, oh, it's open behind the puller, just follow that guy into daylight. It's like he had to find the cutbacks, because the Falcons were legitimately doing a good job like taking those plays away, but he still found like these tiny creases on the backside. Just wild vision from McCaffrey tonight. Like, and getting Kittle back for blocking like helped a ton as well, because their offensive line really is not the greatest. So yeah, the fact that they can just hunker down and give it to him, like that's why they're 5-2. And then Michael Penix didn't play very well. I thought overall
he's really inconsistent.
Inconsistent's the perfect word, because he has a couple of throws you're like, dude, like he's got it. Like the one we talk about to Drake London. Like that pass had the perfect amount of zip. It stuck to London's hands. And part of that is because London's the GOAT and he can just snag those and reach across and get the first down. But I'm like you say, Theo, that's a perfect pass for a one-handed catch. But then there's others where he's throwing in the exact same spot. It kind of wobbles out. It's a floater. It's a duck, or it's like super shallow. It's like he doesn't like have the same release point on the exact same throw. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, Penix has, according to, let's see, this is SF Data Niners on Twitter. I can't tell where some of these numbers can be a little bit different depending on what website you're looking at. But according to this one, Penix has the highest bad throw rate in the league, while also facing pressure at the lowest rate in the league. So that accuracy, if these numbers are right, and it does seem right that he sprays a good amount of his passes, especially when he's on the move. He's got a big arm, but he's not really fluid to release it while he's off his spot. So I feel like
agree.
I feel like it does make sense that Penix is where he's at there, where he's kind of just this turret from the pocket without a ton of escapability and throw on the move ability, and even as kind of that turret pocket passer, like pocket presence tonight, a little bit iffy, decision making a little bit iffy. Like there's not much that you can point to and say like, oh yeah, Penix is a total field general. Like he's a great pocket passer, and he's also not a great extender. He's got a lot of swings to Bijan that are great offense, and I think I'm still interested to see him grow because his arm still is good, and he does hang in there. So I don't think he's a complete like worst quarterback I've ever seen or anything like that, but you got to be able to pick on this 49ers defense a little bit more, I feel like. But shout out the Niners defense, like a bunch of nobodies just kind of locking up, dude. Kind of locking up.
It's ridiculous.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't a ton of missed throws. It's a lot of contested stuff.
But like they're getting pressure up front. They're stuffing rushing lanes. They just won it, man. Like I don't like
they do.
I don't. It's very different when you watch this team versus like the Dolphins, where it's like you've kind of got what a lot of people would consider to be two of the best offensive minds in football, and one team looks like they've given up almost, and the others like they're the most injured team in football. Their starting quarterback, who they just gave a new contract, has been hurt. Their receivers are all hurt. The best linebacker in the NFL is hurt, and they're just out there balling. Nick Bosa's on IR, like, and they're just out there, and they just won it, man. It's ridiculous. I don't get where it comes from or how this happened, but they're just the coaching and the culture there just has to be different.
Yeah, it's funny that like half the fan base wants Shanahan fired all the time. It's like, bro, this is modern day Bill Walsh.
I'm not listening to anyone that wants their coach fired. Every single fan base in the NFL wants their coach fired, barring like maybe Kansas City.
Yeah, right.
Like it's like,
and even they probably do want Reed like to retire. Yeah. Like
every single fan base wants their coach gone. Every single one.
I feel like this game from the 49ers and like the Falcons' overall defensive success this year, maybe we don't have to look at pressure rate getting 4, right? This was Ulbricht's big realization for the Falcons was like, I always felt like pressure rate rushing 4 was the big thing. But now I realize, sometimes you have to bring the blitz if you don't have a guy who can just get 15 sacks. And I feel like him and Saleh have both had this realization. And now it's about separation numbers when rushing 5, 6, 7, because that's what these some of these top defenses are built on right now is blitzing without many brackets on the back end.
I completely agree. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm about toast right now.
That's all right, because we're out of games.
We're out of games. It's after 1 a.m. here if you're on regular time, normal people time. And so we'll call it here. We'll get back at it, of course, on our next episode. If you're not tapped into the Patreon, Matt's been pumping out NBA content left and right. So if you're interested in the NBA season, of course, go there.
Me and Jokic Joestar, we're
low Jokic Joestar action. Theo and I had a Patreon episode last week where we went over the Monday night games, and then we've got a couple more Monday night games coming up here shortly as well. So we have a lot to talk about in the coming week. And then we are doing a live watch in a couple of weeks, watching Chiefs and Commanders live on Monday Night Football. So we'll be right here on the Stay Hot YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed already, you might as well go over to the YouTube and subscribe so you're ready for that live watch. It'll be available to everyone, not just like Patreon subs or anything. So make sure you're tapped into that. It'll be a ton of fun. But thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. As always, from your favorite fellas here, Matthew Spawnhour. We hope your canker sore heals. Theo Ash. I'm trying to read your name tag here, Theo. Does that say Theo Thneo Ash?
Theo Ash, that's me.
The Theo Ash and Blaiden Kirk. We'll catch you guys on the flippity flop.